Well, hello everyone, and here we are to talk to you today. It's a very special time of day today. You know what fucking time it is.
It's that special fucking day of the week. Have you ever just had one of those days where you just want to kick back, relax, open up a nice fresh glass of hot dog flavored water, and just chill out for this Fred Durst fucking Friday? Yeah! Woo! So turn those fucking baseball caps around, just fucking kick it, and just rolling onto these reviews.
Because here we do it all for the nookie.
Do it all for the nookie. We do it all for the amazing Fred Durst content. And on this very special episode...
I do this podcast for the nookie.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten so much...
We have straight groupies for this shit. We don't really have fans. We just have, like... teams of people who want the fuck.
We don't have any counterfeit fans either. We only have actual fans for Fred Durst Friday.
What are the fans for this? Are they like the Dursties? What are they called?
The Jinxes. Wait, no, that's not Robert Durst, is it?
Biscuit believers.
The Biz Leavers.
We should point out too that Nathan is still here from the main episode today of episode 22. So yeah. He'll be joining us along here.
Yes, I've definitely seen these movies that we're going to be talking about and not just seen only the trailers.
Yeah. And speaking of movies, we are going to review on this very special after-school episode of Fred Durst Friday the movie's Population 436, which Fred Durst starred in a major role.
Oh, yeah.
And also the Longshots, which is our very first Fred Durst directed film we've talked about on this episode so far. Mm-hmm. So, Jess, would you like to go ahead and talk about Population 436 first?
Oh, yeah. So, since we're talking about movies, I took some notes like it's a regular old cage fight here. Population 436 is a rated R. Came out in the year 2006, directed by Michelle MacLaren, who we just found out apparently directed a bunch of episodes of Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, like all sorts of big TV shows.
Yeah. Quite a rap sheet, and also this.
Yeah. Also,
this was by far the biggest and most successful thing she ever did.
Yeah, this is what fucking lined her bank account and allowed her to put herself out there and do those shows.
And Jess, do you have the box office figures for Population 436?
I don't. The budget is not available online.
So that means it's automatically in the red. No, I'm just kidding.
There's no budget, no box office gross. This, although I did see a lot of things saying it was very low budget. This is 92 minutes, and there is no production company, just a dude named Gavin Poloni.
It's like some guy Fred Durst knew in high school.
Yeah. And on Rotten Tomatoes, this is not rated by critics. No critics have reviewed this, but audiences give it a 35%.
Oh, that's fucking criminal. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Offensive.
I'm fucking offended on behalf of all Fred Durst lovers like myself. Not a lover of Fred Durst, although I have been a lover of Fred Durst, but a lover of Fred Durst content.
I'm hoping after he hears this podcast, I'll be a lover.
We'll have to start a whole new bracket full of like Fred Durst sexual experiences.
Yeah, this is a bracket of like all the times he made me come ranked.
But yeah, like a real quick plot summary of this movie is there's a guy named Steve Cady who is a member of the U.S. Census Bureau and a researcher. And
I wrote in my notes I called him Census Guy.
Yeah, I was calling him Census Guy until I eventually picked up his name about 3/4 of the way through the movie. But he's sent to this kind of remote town named Rockwell Falls.
In North Dakota specifically.
Which is in North Dakota, which will be relevant... Because I have a question of why all the characters have Southern accents in one of the most northernmost states in the United States.
I feel like every single like small rural area has its own version of a basically Southern accent if you live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
They got rural accents, but like, I mean, in Wisconsin, we definitely have a Wisconsin rural accent, but it's not a Southern accent.
Not really.
It's very distinct. It's
when you say Southern accents, you do mean the American South and not South Dakota.
Yes, yes, I do.
Well, the thing is that North Dakota is technically south of Canada, so that's why they have a Southern Canadian accent.
Yeah, exactly. Deep Canada South.
But it's Rockwell Falls, North Dakota, and he's sent there to figure out data about the population.
And he's sent from Chicago of all places.
Yeah, sent from Chicago.
Don't you think they would have sent it from maybe Minneapolis instead, a closer major city? Why Chicago?
I don't know.
Milwaukee,
is there a Census
Madison?
Bureau building in Minneapolis?
I would assume so.
I don't know.
I don't think census buildings are only located. I mean, shit, there's like census like there's census takers in like fucking every single small town in America. Why would somebody from Chicago have to go to the middle of fucking North Dakota to do a census?
Honestly, by all accounts, there should only be one census taker. Spends the year or the decade going around from house to house. Why do we need?
Yeah, I mean,
One guy's fine.
Yeah, one guy's fine. He's driving through and his tire pops.
Oh,
at
yeah.
the entrance of the like. What was it? The city, like the town limits of the town. So he's technically in the town when it pops.
It's like a classic Children of the Corn intro where he's like, "Oh no, my poor car is broken down in this strange town."
He's
And
got
I-
two flats.
and I
which
think
is
it's really funny
one
that
too many to fucking pop a spare on. That's all.
you know what's kind of funny is
Despite the fact that he has a Jeep with a spare.
the thing that triggered that and where he didn't notice is he sees a girl fall off a horse. This is really funny. That's the same horse that was in the Mr. Hands video.
Oh god.
But no, it's just really funny. He's like, oh, why is that girl falling off a horse? Ah, fuck, my tires popped. And I laughed when I saw that. Ah, shit.
At the edge of town there, like a sheriff's deputy rolled up, played by the illustrious Fred Durst, who I really didn't recognize at first, actually, because his voice is so different. He's doing a southern accent.
He's
for
all like,
some reason.
he's completely bald, head and facial hair.
Yeah,
which is not
completely
common look for him.
bald. He's way thinner. My mental image of Fred Durst is way buffer than he appears to be in a lot of shit that I've seen.
He's a
him
little
in.
bit scrawnier in this than I guess I'm accustomed to picturing him.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't see him as a cop, you know?
No, yeah. I don't really see him as a cop either. Although I think this movie came out in 2006, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was right after The Unquestionable Truth, and I think he had a very, very precipitous decline in physical health at that point. So there's probably a reason he's a lot skinnier.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that.
Well, he's probably horribly depressed because like a couple of years earlier, he was in one of the most popular bands, and now he's a fucking complete laughingstock, and he's in
Right.
he's in a great movie called Population 436.
But so while he's doing his work there, Steve Cady, census man, the townspeople act very, very strange towards him, and they keep making allusions to something called the fever that affects people.
Yeah, and at the very beginning of this movie, you see someone trying to escape the town, and he just gets over the city limits, and he dies, and Fred Durst observes that.
Yeah, he
so there's
flips
some weird
over
thing
in the
going.
pothole, I think, and his car like rolls over and he explodes.
And then you see a baby born immediately afterwards. So there's some weird shit going on with this fucking town.
I was gonna make a note about that. I might as well bring it up now. But yeah, the beginning of the movie just has like 14 frantic cuts just of the woman laying in her bed giving birth. It's shot like it's a goddamn action sequence. But and then it cuts to like a pickup truck and a car chase through the countryside. And there's a cop following him and yelling, "Just pull over, man!" And calling him by name. I don't remember his fucking name, but the truck flips over into a ditch and explodes, and then a healthy baby boy is born, and in the room after the birth, someone stops a clock. And then, I don't know why I noted this, because it never became relevant again, but they set the clock to 3:35. But,
and also, when the guy dies and his truck explodes, the baby is born, and it is holding the keys to a brand new Ford F-150. So all is back to normal.
All is well in Rockwell Falls.
Yes.
yeah, but that was the beginning. But, Steve Cady is hearing about the fever from the townsfolk. The townsfolk some of them seem to treat him like a good friend and like he's been there for years. And throughout his research, he discovers that the population has been exactly 436 people for well over 100 years at this point.
It is kind of funny that when he's like introducing himself to or like meeting people in the town, they're all like, "Oh, look at this poor man who's from out of town. Let's help him out, get him a hotel room, and make sure his experience is nice." "What do you do, mister?" "Oh, I'm a census guy." And they're like, "This motherfucker."
He's gonna count how many people are here. They're fucking motherfucker.
They don't
I
put
don't trust any census takers. It's
shit.
a bullshit job.
Honestly, it is.
It's a bullshit job.
And if the census is hiring, hit me up.
So eventually he comes to discover like a girl who's being held in a hospital room where they say she's schizophrenic and crazy and she has the fever. He tries to break her out, but she tells him in the process that like they say that anyone who wants to leave the town is said to be crazy and has the fever. and they won't let you go. They're going to keep you here too.
So yeah, the town people are very weird to him. Fred Durst in this movie, I can't remember the character's name at the moment, but he's the sheriff's deputy, I believe. He's
Officer Freddy.
Officer Freddy. I'm gonna call him Officer Freddy. Is like the only character who's just objectively really nice to Census guy.
Yeah.
He's like a cool guy. He's like, yo, bro, I'm going to show you around the town. This town's cool as fuck. Here's my fiance. And listen, I know you guys are going to be really cool together. Trust me. And I love the scene in the bar when there's a guy like fucking puts like a shotgun up to Census guy's head. And Fred's like, yo, bro, come on. We don't have to do this. He's like, and I called him Fred Durst, the master negotiator in that scene. He's like, it's like, yeah, this guy probably gets paid $12 an hour to be the cop in this shit town. But he's like, he's like a better negotiator than anyone in the FBI.
And he's also wingman of the century.
He's cool as fuck. All right. And also, so when he comes to the town, he knows there's this thing called the festival. Mm-hmm. And the festival seems very strange. Like, what is this? What is this festival? Like, what's going on? And then you see there's the town folk. They have like a basket full of papers, and they all have to draw things or whatever. And the person who wins the festival is this guy's wife, who I think that's the guy who pulls the gun on him. Mm-hmm. Not mistaken.
Oh yeah. Basically you'll come to find out this is just like the short story The Lottery.
It's literally The Lottery. That's literally what it is.
It's the Hunger Games / The Lottery / Midsummer.
Yeah.
And then you find out the lottery, and then you find out this woman's like, I'm so happy to be part of the lottery, and she's literally in a fucking gallows about to be fucking hung, and they drop it and she just dies.
Yeah. Because at this point, like Katie or Steve Cady has found out that he is being part of the town, which brings the population up to 437, and they got to take it back down to 436. So she has been killed.
Because there's no such thing as passing through this town. No. If you end up here, you fucking stay here.
They do spoil that hanging, by the way, in the trailer.
Oh, they do? Yes! And I also like how they mention there is a little plot hole thing they mention. They're like, well, I mean, if it's population 436, how come all the people that delivered stuff don't get it? It's like, well, they don't spend the night. So it's like, oh, so if you didn't force this guy to spend the night, everything would have been fine. Yeah. So you facilitated this shit happening. Like, really, guys? Can you just accept that some people don't want to live in your fucking town?
And just like, God damn it, now we gotta kill somebody.
But, Steve flips out because of that. He's, like, freaking the fuck out. He's like, you people are all crazy. And they're like, he's got the fever. So they take him to a room.
And there's a thing just before then. There's that school that all the kids are at. And they have, like, oh, it's a bee. And they do, like, some weird Latin. It reminds me exactly of that scene from Wicker Man.
Yeah. No, they aren't saying phallic symbol.
They're saying some Latin shit, I think. Yeah. And you also find out that number 436 means something in numerology.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a reason why the population is 436.
Well, they also say that apparently in 1860, they give the explanation to Steve while they're holding him down and giving him electroshock therapy to get him to, get rid of the fever and want to stay. That in 1860, the population was 436, and then a new guy came into town, and that guy sucked. And everybody hated that guy. But then the town burned down, and they rebuilt it, and they put a population cap on the town at 436, and they realized that's a good number, and it's got to stay at that. And they believe that God kills everyone who tries to leave. It is not them, it is God.
If it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it. Yeah. And they also mention there's no crime in this town, except for the wanton murder and assaults all the time.
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't matter who lives there as long as the population is no more, no less than 436. Everything will be fucking good to go.
Yeah, except for the guy who pulls a gun on Census guy and the mentally challenged person who starts choking him in the store for no reason. There's no crime in this town, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I mean, everything's fine.
And also holding little girls against their will in a place and they torture. Yeah, no crime.
Yeah, I mean, what would the crime even be there? Like,
yeah, abusing children is not a crime.
Yeah, it'd be like accidental oopsie.
Yeah, that's a party foul.
Party foul. Beat the kids.
Oh man.
But yeah, like after that, basically, Steve tries to break out. Durst's fiance.
Yeah, we forgot that Fred Durst has a. Is it fiance or just girlfriend that he's going to propose to?
I think it's his girlfriend that he's going to propose to, or he wants to propose to her because she's in love with him. I don't even know if they're dating, but she has expressed to Steve that she wants to leave too. So he once he's out of electroshock therapy, he kind of meets another guy who apparently came there 8 years ago and hasn't been able to leave. And he kind of gives Steve a hint on how he might be able to leave, but he said, like, weird shit does happen to people who try to leave. Like, it's not them. But so Steve is like, okay, I'm gonna bust Courtney out of here. I'm gonna bust that little girl out of here, and we're gonna fucking roll, man.
And don't forget, since this guy cucks Fred Durst.
Oh yeah, he did cuck Fred Durst by sleeping with his girlfriend.
It's like, hey, I
want
want to leave, and it's like, I do love Fred, but also I'm just really horny right now, so I'm just gonna fuck you. And then the sheriff's deputy is also like teammates with Fred Durst or like coworkers. He's like, oh, you should check up on your friend real quick. I bet he's like really hanging out with your girl. And he's like, whatever. And like Fred goes to the bar and he's like, I'm gonna check up on her and sense this guy. And he's like, I'm about to walk in, and he almost looks through the window at them fucking, and he just doesn't. He's like, fuck it, whatever. I'll figure it out later.
Oh, he does actually. After that, he goes to the barn and looks through the cracks and sees them.
Oh, does he? Oh shit, he does. So he really does get cucked.
And he lingers too, like he's enjoying it. It seemed like he didn't seem put off or anything. He
I mean,
was
why
just
wouldn't
kinda
you, Jared? That census guy and his wife or fiance are kind of hot.
Hot couple.
A hot wife. Multiple fucking ways.
Talk
Jesus.
about hot wife.
But yeah, Fred is real torn up about that having happened because he considered Steve a close friend and Courtney to be his lover. So he decides he's going to kill Steve at the behest of the other sheriff's deputy who was like, bro, you've been fucking up with this too long. You just got to get rid of him. He's a problem. Which I don't understand why they're all okay with killing someone if 436 is the population number they want to be at. They'd have to get another kid.
They just have to kidnap another person.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Easy.
But Fred is all torn up. He's gonna kill Steve. Steve is plotting his escape, which involves like blowing up the town garage. But Durst walks in there and holds him at gunpoint, threatens to shoot Steve, threatens to shoot himself. He doesn't know what's going on. So Steve like manages to get the gun from him and then knocks him the fuck out. And Steve continues his plan of burning down the garage and trying to leave in the ensuing chaos.
Talk about that scene. Fred Durst did have a line that got cut. He said, "Yo, man, chill out. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Fuck you."
Yeah. Initially, after he saw like them sleeping together, he was yelling like, "It's just one of those days where I don't want to wake up. Everything is fucked. Everybody sucks.
Just want to break stuff, but not this barn."
Why is he banging on my significant other?
Man, I did this all for that nookie.
Yeah, dude, I did it all for this nookie, and you took that away from me. Now I'm sitting here like a chump, eh?
Why did he take that cookie?
Yeah. But yeah,
listen, bitch, it's my way or the house.
Literally, it's quite literally, yeah.
So Steve gets the little girl. They steal a tow truck and start booking it out of town. But at the edge of town, Durst is there with the other sheriff's deputy, and they block the road.
And don't forget, too, just before then, he goes into the doctor's house who's supposedly fixing the quote-unquote fever. And the solution to the fever is lobotomy.
Yep.
It's literally what it is. And then you see a family that he's been looking for that he just wasn't able to find. They're literally in the basement living like some weird 50s, like Leave It to Beaver style thing in a fucking jail cell, which is weird.
And they're totally chill with it.
Yeah. And he tries to save Fred Durst's wife. He fucks that up.
Courtney,
She gets
and
taken and she gets lobotomized.
She is lobotomized when he finds her again.
So it's too late to save her, but they end up saving the little girl. And so one problem with that, though, you see in the back of the head where she's bleeding, that's not how lobotomy works.
Yeah, it's frontal lobotomy.
Yep, they do it literally through the eye socket. So that's not how lobotomy works. So this film is medically wrong.
Yeah,
True.
But I mean, they didn't want to. She was hot, so they didn't want to mess up her face.
Also,
Yeah.
lobotomies have a weird and really fucked up history, and it's kind of insane that is a thing that was
it's
medically
awful.
prescribed for so long.
Yeah. I could tell you about the original guy, but let's not get into it.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, they end up trying to leave, and Fred and sheriff's deputy guy, who's his friend, who I kind of recognize that actor, but I remember him. He is the main victim in Saw 6, which is probably the most woke Saw movie. I'm not even joking. Because in that movie, he plays an insurance executive who gets horrifically tortured throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
So I think you would like that movie a lot. And they get to the edge of town.
Oh, yeah. And Fred Durst is there blocking the road. He's threatening him with a rifle. And the sheriff's deputy says, like, kill him, man. Kill him. He's got your gun. You got to kill him. If you're not going to kill him, I will. And then Fred Durst shoots the sheriff's deputy and lets Steve drive off with the little girl. And as they're heading out of town, they're kind of happy because they're finally free of all this. but the sky starts getting dark all of a sudden, and they're hit head on by a semi. It seems
also-
they were killed by God.
And it's like a premise. There's a lot of nightmare There's like 3 different fucking nightmare sequences in this
Where
movie.
they're
I swear
getting
to
hit
God.
by trucks.
Where they get hit by trucks, and then that's foreshadowed
like
by
the
the very
Wicker
end of the film. And then the movie ends with, and we didn't mention this earlier, but the town basically comes up with an excuse for why, since this guy never went back to work, and they basically made up like a fucking fake letter.
Oh, yeah.
And gave him like pictures like, oh no, I found a cool wife in this town. I'm never going back to work again. And they're like, oh, that makes sense at first.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, you see his friend at the census try to come to the town. And then, wouldn't you believe it, he accidentally runs over the same fucking patch of soil, like road, and his tire pops.
Oh, what the fuck?
And he sees fucking Fred again, being like, hey, what's up, man? This town's great. Or was it a different guy?
It's the main sheriff, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. But Fred Durst is still alive, and he's still cool. And that's how the movie ends. They find another person to fill that gap of people.
Exactly.
So-
The people said all cops are bad. Fred Durst said, hold on.
I will say Fred Durst is like objectively probably the hero of that town at the very least. Like he tries
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah, best guy. Sadly got cucked. But
He
And
tries
to be
his
fair,
hardest.
he did allow a woman to lose all sense of agency, so never mind.
oh, yeah.
We talk about movies that are really misogynistic. All these movies have been really misogynistic on this
A ton
episode
of
so
them kind of
far.
are. But
Hey, name a movie that's not misogynistic. I dare you.
It's not. There's our Bechdel test we could do for these films.
Holy.
I feel like all these films would fail pretty bad.
Even the biggest Bechdel test movies.
But no, Fred Durst is like a cool character. I really did think that he added a lot to this movie, and I think
oh
that
yeah,
he's really,
this movie
really cool
like
character.
rides on the back of Fred Durst. I feel, and he's definitely the best character. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's more interesting than Steve is mostly.
And even though he's not the most famous actor, I would say he's probably the most famous person in this movie.
Definitely.
I would say he's the most famous person in this planet.
I mean, unless you're a big fan of 6 Feet Under, then Fred Durst is obviously the biggest character in this movie.
Yeah.
One thing that stood out to me that I thought was funny was when he is looking for that family, because it's a family that's not he hasn't met and hasn't been accounted for in the census, and he wants to make sure they're there. He talks to the mayor and says like, "Hey, do you know where this family might be?" Or like, "Oh," and he's like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Whatever. He's fine. He's being taken care of right now." And he's like, "Well, can I go see him?" And he's like, "Oh no, he won't take kindly to strangers. Matter of pride. You understand that, right?" And I'm like, no. How is pride related to taking kindly to a stranger?
He doesn't like another man in his town.
What do those have to do with one another? I don't understand that.
Oh god, it's just funny, and that's the thing is that we were kind of talking about what this movie reminds us of, and it does remind me a lot of The Wicker Man a lot. There's a lot of weird Wicker Man shit in this movie.
Yeah,
For sure.
And to be fair, that's kind of a common trope is that outsider comes to small town, outsiders, or like the small town doesn't necessarily take too kindly to him, but they kind of want to welcome him in for sinister reasons. That's like a pretty common trope in a lot of these films.
Yeah, that's like a classic. Like I don't know. I
Kind of
the
the
small
fear.
town horror. I think of Stephen King. But
Yeah, I think it's like kind of a fear of like small towns and like kind of like fear of ruralness. Is this town? Or like this movie has like a big trope of that.
Oh, I bet you got big cars there in Chicago.
Yeah, it's like, hey, boy, it's like, sir, this is literally North Dakota.
Why do you talk? Why do you all talk like that? We want to give you some cornbread now.
Yeah, take you to Bismarck and around. It's like I've met people from North Dakota. They sound nothing like that at all.
I haven't met anybody from North Dakota, but if I ever do, I'll fucking tell them to suck my dick.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I thought this movie, like it's a pretty standard low budget horror movie.
It was entertaining enough.
I've seen worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and what I was going to say before is that, like, makes sense to me that the director is like a TV director because this did have like a made-for-TV kind of feel to it.
Yeah. It did.
Yeah, there's a lot of TV accents. In fact, even the set design really he's talking about Walking Dead. It kind of reminded me a lot of The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
bit, like,
yeah. I mean,
sets-wise.
it definitely has like a sci-fi channel movie feel to it.
Oh yeah,
so.
absolutely, a lot of
Yeah.
that shit. And I will say, I did genuinely like this film.
I have seen it.
I will say, if Fred Durst wasn't in this, I would not give it the time of day. But Fred Durst is just
He's a ray of sunshine.
a ray of sunshine in an otherwise relatively dull horror movie.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I genuinely liked it, but it is an interesting thing to have seen.
Yeah, especially like Fred Durst being in a horror movie and a main character in a horror movie too.
I personally loved it. I'm just
Oh yeah.
Nathan was one of the biggest stands of this
He
movie.
watched it several times just to prepare.
And he was like, I don't even know if I can talk about this movie because I was so moved by it.
And one thing I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the scene when they're in the cemetery at the very beginning, those fucking like paper mache crosses that all look the same in the town.
Oh yeah, the garage he blew up too was like very, very clearly a facade that was built and put just erected right up there. It's funny actually because there's a scene where they show it from the side and you can see the building is like half as tall as that, and they just put that facade up and it's literally like a 2x4 thick.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So yeah, this movie's really fucking wild. And just a lot of like weird random moments that don't like. Why is the mentally challenged guy trying to choke
I have no fucking
census guy
idea.
for no reason? He's just mentally challenged. Like you see the people that are lobotomized are just like broken people. They're not mentally challenged like that guy is. Like what? I don't get why they even included that character in there.
He was straight up murderous, and it's maybe it's because of his brain.
That's true. I mean, mentally, that's the thing. People with mental disabilities should be feared.
Yeah, and that's Fred Durst definitely believes that, but I won't spoil the fanatic. So
So I will say, any final thoughts before we move on to the next film?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Absolutely. All right. So the next film on the agenda is the Ice Cube family film directed by Fred Durst, known as The Longshots, starring Ice Cube and Keke Palmer. Mm-hmm. Now, Jess.
Not to be confused with the long shits.
Shits, which Mike might have some opinions. Speaking of shits, so yeah, I'll let you go, Jess, and explain some of the details.
Okay, this one came out in 2008. It's rated PG, directed by Fred Durst, produced by Dimension Films and Cube Vision.
Well, we talk about Weinstein's Dimension Film. That's Bob Weinstein's company.
Yum.
Yum yum yum.
Speaking of
man.
dimensions, how about that mutilated penis?
Lovely.
What are the dimensions of that?
The dimensions of my cock. Yeah.
This has a runtime of 93 minutes, budget of $23 million, and a box office gross of $11.8 million.
We got 2 movies in the red already. Fuck.
In the Fred.
In the Fred.
2 in the Fred, 1 in the stink. So Rotten Tomatoes, this got a 41% from the critics, 61% from the audience.
Oh shit.
So
it got fresh from the audience. Mm-hmm. I am okay. Shit.
This is a real Fresh Prince.
And this movie did objectively better critic and commercially critic and audience wise than Population 436 already.
it's true.
I mean, it was like a movie that I feel like maybe I've heard of, but I'm not sure.
But yeah, the plot of this one is basically that Ice Cube, I thought he was homeless at the start.
I did too. I thought that was what they were going with, but he's just
he's
unemployed.
He's always wearing the same clothes.
And they even mentioned the fact
smells-
that he stinks all the time.
Yeah, and like, I don't know.
Probably just that mad reefer, dude.
But he is the uncle of a girl at school named Jasmine, who is played by
Keke Palmer.
Keke Palmer. And Jasmine is like a very bookish girl, always burying herself in books. She's being raised by a single mother who wants to get out more.
And takes place in the town of Minden, Illinois, which is, I believe, where Dave lived in Illinois.
No, I don't think so.
No, it is, though, literally. Right, Dave? You lived in Minden, Illinois, is that correct?
No.
But so she's picked on by the other kids at school and stuff like that. But so her mother like goes to talk to Ice Cube, and says like, hey, can you start like picking her up from school and just like talking to her and like, making sure she's okay.
I gotta pick up more hours at the diner so I can't spend time with my daughter. Imagine being that much of a deadbeat fucking, like, mom's a piece of shit. Like, imagine trying to work more to support your shit. Like, what the fuck?
That's
Get the
fucked
fuck
up.
out of here.
And then she's like, can you be her dad? My daughter needs a dad.
Yeah, hey, can you like take care of my kid? Because I'm too fucking selfish and I'm working.
Yeah,
Quit a job.
I'm a
her
single
dad
mom.
rightfully ran out on her.
Yeah, that dad is a cool fucking character.
Yeah, maybe
seriously.
if she wasn't fucking working all the time.
Maybe if she fucking put out more instead of being a fucking bitch.
Hey, how about instead of supporting this family, you support my fucking balls when you're sucking my dick?
So they're both kind of confrontational with one another until one day, like at the park where Ice Cube hangs around, acting like he's homeless when he's not. He's throwing a football around with one of his friends, and it lands near Jasmine's feet, and she picks it up and throws it to him, and he realizes that she has a natural talent for it. So tries to get her to practice, and she quickly begins to enjoy it. Eventually, he convinces her to try out for the high school football team. And she's like, I can't. I'm a girl. And he's like, nah, you fucking good and you got this. And then they go to the coach. The coach is like, nah, she's a girl. She can't do this. And then, but he changes his mind when he sees her passing skills being done at the side. So
The coach also kind of looks like Sean Penn a little bit.
yeah,
It kind of does, actually.
Like
but he's not violent enough.
Yeah, and he's a raggedy Sean Penn who couldn't quite get to the levels of fame where he was abusing his pop star wife.
Yeah. But she goes through some serious hazing at practice, but eventually the team really accepts her. She starts like winning games for them initially as a backup, but eventually they realize she's better than the main quarterback and she's a starter.
And do you remember the fucking sick burn that the other team does on them?
Oh yeah.
But they're like, their quarterback's a girl now, and the one guy's like, I thought it was a girl before because the old quarterback sucked.
Did you remember when he knocked over Kiki, like when they were playing football? Like, you get your dirt in your skirt.
Oh, dude, some of the best bowling I've ever seen. Yeah.
But also, by the way, plumber, like, you got a big turd in that toilet. Remember the beginning when they
Oh yeah,
gave the plunger?
they're like, make sure there's not a dookie in there first, and then later on they call her Dookie Girl. So
really good bullying in this town, by the way.
And I think they call her that because she actually really likes Green Day, which I know Taylor supports.
But
Yeah, we'll talk about Dookie and shit, Green Day or shit. So
Come on.
There's also one thing I want to talk about is like in one of the games, like Ice Cube is like putting out flyers all around town, like saying like, come watch this youth football game. And like he gives it to one guy who's like foreign who keeps making the same joke over and over again, which is like, football is soccer to me.
In my country, this name is something else.
Yeah.
which was such a good joke, they kept having to repeat it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, over and
honestly,
over.
I wish they would have thrown in a few. And why are you driving on that side of the road?
Yeah.
But
That's some classic 2008 comedy right there.
Oh yeah,
but
Britain's
yeah.
different.
But no, Jasmine keeps doing well.
Yeah, she keeps doing really well, and we end up learning Ice Cube's backstory, which is he had a promising football career ahead of him until he tore his ACL and had some other injuries outside of a game, even not in a game. And he got a job at a factory which closed down years ago now, and he's just kind of been drifting around.
And just to
ever
reiterate,
since.
this town Minden, which, like I said, that's where Dave lived in Illinois, is a shitty post-industrial town.
Oh yeah,
That's falling apart.
classic
and,
Rust Belt.
Yeah, and I honestly really liked that. I like that setting in movies when it's done relatively tastefully, and I think this movie did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, I think it did a good
And
job.
I think I don't know if you caught it, but the way he tore his ACL was he picked up a girl he was trying to fuck since the
12th grade.
12th grade. So
Slowly drifting by was a blimp, and it read, Ice Cube's a pimp.
But today was a bad day because I tore my ACL and I fucked up my life.
yeah, so
But so
He didn't have to pull out his AK because he wasn't shooting that day, and he still fucked up his ACL. So maybe if he had his AK, he wouldn't have fucked his ACL.
I shot myself in the ACL with my AK by accident.
So at the next practice, the coach has a heart attack, and this scene was great. It's very dramatic and slow-mo. The moment it turns around and it focuses on the coach, I'm like, he's gonna have a heart attack. It's held on him for 3 seconds now. There's no reason they would do this. I know this shot. I've seen it before. It's going slow-mo. He's walking away. He's gonna suddenly go, oh, and fall over. And
they don't film him falling over. They just show their reaction, and then we learn
Yeah.
the next scene that he has a heart attack.
yeah, that's true. My favorite part of it, though, is his son is on the team, and he very half-heartedly goes, Dad, in slow-mo. It is so I actually audibly laughed out loud at that.
It is an awkward fucking scene. It's very awkward.
The thing is, like, it was clearly, like, you know, it was supposed to be done like it was in slow-mo, but for some reason, instead of just having him say, Dad, and slowing it down, They had him say "Dad" really slowly, and then slowed it down a little bit. But sorry. So the assistant coach gets promoted to head coach, and he wants Ice Cube to coach with him. Actually, he's like, I think you should be the coach. And Ice Cube is reluctant, but he's eventually convinced. So like, bam, they're winning more games until like they're the fucking best in their league, and they're gonna go to the fucking Youth League Super Bowl.
The fucking World Series of poker, dude.
In Miami, which is alluded to earlier, is where Ice Cube wants to like go at some point. Like he has dreams of moving to Miami.
Yeah. Just all the Pitbull and the Dwayne Wade and stuff.
Yeah.
It's Scarface.
No more Dwayne Wade. But yeah, so they learn that the team has to pay their own way to Miami.
And don't forget, Jasmine's deadbeat dad shows up.
Oh yeah, he shows up again, and Ice Cube is like, you need to just go and get the fuck out of here and not show up to her again, because I know you're gonna show up, you're gonna get her hopes up, and then you're gonna leave again and let her down.
And she is, because deadbeat dad left when she was like 9 years old or something, like 5 years ago, and she still has his watch. And she protects it very, very, like, with all of her heart and soul, because she just misses her dad that much.
Yeah, and also because he smuggled the watch up his ass.
He showed up 5 years later, and he's like, hey, I saw you won a game. Let's go. By the way, deadbeat dad, let's go get ice cream at my ex-wife and your mom's diner, and I'm not paying for it, by the way. Yeah, this guy's a real fucking piece of shit.
Pay for it with all your football winnings.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, they find out that the team has to cover their own travel costs to Miami for the Super Bowl, and the whole town ends up contributing, because this whole thing has made the whole town more proud of their community and take more pride in the community.
It allows them, like, trying to fix up the town a little bit, picking up trash and stuff. So, like, a lot of good, like, civic community stuff. Mm-hmm. And then also the dad says he's going to go see her in Miami for that game.
Oh, yeah. He promises he'll be there. And so it's Super Bowl time. They're down 16-0 at the half. And Jasmine is searching the stands and sees her dad didn't show up, and she's very sad about it. But Ice Cube says, like, he's gonna leave you all the time, but like, I promise you, I'm always gonna be there. And then they come back from the half. Fort Minor is playing on
I
the
noticed that. Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, Fort Minor, fucking 10%, whatever. And I'm like, I audibly laughed when that came up.
Pretty sure I'm hearing Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park right now.
Yeah. I'm sorry, do you mean Mike Shinoda from Fort Minor?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, talk about Fort Minor. That was the initial set name for.
That's where they filmed Fast Times at Ridgemont.
But yeah, so like they catch up until they're just like a touchdown down, and it's the last 8 seconds. They need a touchdown to win, and Jasmine gets it out there, but the receiver just doesn't quite catch the pass, and a nice little subversion of the sports movie thing, which I liked. And so Ice Cube on the way out gets an offer from some other people down there to coach for the Miami Pop Warner League. That is his dream, to move out to Miami and be coaching football. That's like his dream fucking job. And on the bus, Jasmine is like, hey, you're just gonna leave like everyone else did. And he's like, nah, I promised I'm staying, and I'm staying, because they have the true father-daughter type bond going on here now, even though it is not bio. But then back home in Milton or whatever. Minden, I was saying. Jasmine's bio dad shows up again, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry I wasn't there, but everyone's like, nah, fuck off, dude. And Jasmine takes off his watch and gives it back to him, and, that's it. That's pretty much the whole
says,
movie.
And that's 100% reason to remember the name.
One thing I didn't mention is this is based on a true story, I think.
It is. Yeah. That was at the very tail end of it. They described
that can't be.
Jasmine Plummer. Jasmine Plummer, that's her name. And the story isn't probably quite the same, but she ended up going to the quote-unquote Super Bowl of, like, minor league, like youth football. She was the very first female quarterback of a team that made it to basically this Pop Warner Super Bowl.
That's cool.
So her real name is Jasmine Plummer. So it's a cool story. I looked it up a little bit. Apparently she ended up playing college. Age. Yeah. And she's like 26, 27. And she ended up playing college basketball. So multi-talented, multifaceted girl. She's cool as hell.
And we extend an invitation to the real Miss Plummer to be on the pod.
And I believe the actual story was she was on the Pop Warner team in Harvey, Illinois, which is like in the Chicago area, like south suburbs.
Like, that's where Dave lived.
Yeah, that's where he actually lived. Yes.
Harvey Weinstein, Illinois.
Yeah, we'll talk about Harvey and then Bob Weinstein.
Yo, Harvey's a piece of shit, dude.
Whoa.
I'm from the Valley.
So no, honestly, are we ready to get to our opinions of the film?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So this was not really much of a Fred Durst movie. He wasn't in it, but he did direct it, obviously. So it does have his stylistic choices all over it. In fact, the original song that was going to be played with the Fort Minor part was going to be every song off of Significant Other in a row.
I mean, honestly, the director's cut, if they could have worked that out, I would have watched that for sure.
It was originally going to be Counterfeit. The scene where her dad shows up was going to be Counterfeit.
Oh,
You're freaking me
perfect,
out.
yeah.
You're a Counterfeit. Yeah.
Exactly.
I will say, like, Fred Durst, I think, did a good job as a director here. I mean, it looks like a competent, well-made.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not like, going all out, like doing like some Stanley Kubrick crazy shit.
It's a very simple, like, bread and butter, like, sports movie about a little girl who is able to overcome sexist stereotypes.
yeah, this is a very like typical $5 bin at Walmart type of movie, and it's very competent.
I have seen it in the $5 bit at Walmart.
That doesn't surprise
before.
me. I mean, it's competent for what it wants to be. It's no like, are we there yet as far as like blockbuster family movies go? Mm-hmm. But I will say that I think Fred Durst is a better director than an actor.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
I probably agree with that. Like I'm not really into sports movies. This one, I don't know. It felt like kind of cliche ridden.
It was very cliche.
But which is kind of, I feel like, a hallmark thing for sports movies.
Oh,
yeah, which to me kind of added to part of the charm because I kind of knew what was going to happen every step of the way, except for the ending, though. I did not expect that. I expected her to win, but in real life, she did not win. So I guess they kind of had to make it a little true to life.
I mean, it's like everything she did is super cool, but she just actually fucking sucks at football. So
I just want to say, I think just the fact that this movie exists is so strange to me that Ice Cube was in a movie directed by Fred Durst.
Yeah.
It's still weird to me to think about Ice Cube being in family movies, and I mean that's not new.
Yeah, with
It's
a big
been
Disney
for
star
15 years.
With a big Disney star at the time, Keke Palmer. It's just weird.
Family movie starring Ice Cube directed by Fred Durst is like a fucking Mad Lib of a sentence.
If someone had told you in the year 1999 that Ice Cube and Fred Durst would be in basically a Disney adjacent family film, no one would ever believe you.
Well, not only that, but I mean, it's by Cube Vision, which is producing multiple family movies, not just one. He's in multiple, and he owns it.
Well, shit.
That's beautiful.
So no, honestly, I did like a lot of the performances. I thought that Ice Cube and Kiki's characters really did have like a lot of like platonic, once again, on-screen chemistry. I actually really liked their characters together.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Yeah, and I will say that the mom and the daughter had a much better chemistry and working relationship than Nick Cage and his son did. By a lot. I could tell there was a lot of like I honestly felt bad when Kiki's character Jasmine had her like falls and when she had her successes. I was rooting for her, so I really did like that. I identified with the character a lot. I also liked how they didn't denigrate her nerdiness all that much.
Yeah.
Like, it was just part of her character that people found weird, but eventually even Ice Cube got into her nerdy stuff, so it was kind of cool. They identified with a lot more than just, oh, I like football, so you fucking like. No. They learned a lot from each other, and they developed as characters together, and I like that.
It is a good, like, nice, like, feel-good movie. I mean, there are a lot of really lame, corny jokes that fall flat.
Oh, boy, are there ever.
But, and it is kind of cliche-ridden, but it's, you can't be, like, mad at it.
No, there's literally nothing in this film to be mad at. It's a very sweet film, and I think its intentions are pretty good. Yeah. I will say another folly is that the bullying side plot didn't get resolved in any kind of meaningful way.
No.
Those bullies are shitheads, and they only are nice to her because she's successful.
Yeah,
which is
like
stupid.
All the Dookie jokes they made, they should have been like covered in Dookie at the end.
Yeah, it should have been like a real Carrie situation. Like
instead
seriously.
of Pig's Blood, it was Pig's Dookie.
Yeah,
at the school
And then she
dance.
killed all of them by throwing footballs
Throwing
at their
footballs.
at their head, like torpedoes, and it knocks her head off. But no, that whole subplot was kind of stupid, and I wish they would have either completely resolved it in a way that was justified or not had it at all. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of stupid. But, I understand that shit has to be in these movies. I just think they didn't develop it at all.
Yeah, I mean, the main character has to prove as many people wrong as they possibly can, and whether or not there's like a clear resolution to that. There's got to be some bullying along the way. So,
and I will say too, it's kind of cool having a movie where like a girl overcomes adversity that's actually based on a true story.
yeah,
Like I think that shit's really fucking cool. Like the idea that like a 12-year-old girl was able to get all the way to the basically like the junior Super Bowl is pretty fucking awesome.
yeah. So when all the people on like who are trying to like bully her off of Twitter from Reddit are like, oh, no, this would never really happen.
And she's like, no, I literally did that though.
What if she got her period on the Super Bowl?
She bleed on the pig scale. That's not cool, man.
Wish she got dirt on her skirt. But no, I really did like this movie. And yeah, I think it's time to get to our vote on who wins this episode of Fred Durst Friday.
Guns loaded.
So, Dave, do you want to do the countdown?
What?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I'll do the
No.
countdown. I'll do the countdown. And Nathan, of course, you are included because you did watch these movies several times. All right. So 3, 2, 1.
Longshots.
Population 436.
Third 36.
Wait.
We got a tie.
We got a tie?
Yeah.
Wait, okay, let's argue this a little bit. Okay, so Jess, what is your justification for Population 436?
Okay, so here's the thing I gotta say. Longshots is an objectively better movie.
Oh, objectively, yes.
Like, it is just like miles away better. But I don't particularly want to watch it again.
Okay, that's fair.
But Population 436 is kind of stupid bad, and I at least enjoy watching the stupid small town thing. And I like watching Fred Durst. This is some range for Fred Durst. I got to see him. I didn't get to see him.
That's the thing. I don't know if we should entirely judge a movie based on the quality. I think we should watch the movie based on the Fredness of the Durst. And objectively, Population 436 has way more Fred Durst in it.
That's true.
By magnitude
That's
more.
true. But the Longshots is just, it's a directorial masterpiece. And I think he shows more than range on it. He shows
a lot of maturity, to be honest.
He shows mastery of his craft.
Absolutely.
Nathan, what's your logic behind Population 436?
So here's the thing. It's an issue for me. I also don't like sports movies. I don't like sports movies that are especially based on a real story. I don't care. It's already happened in real life. I don't need to see it in a movie. Okay. So for that reason alone, it's out. But honestly, Population 436 sounds much more interesting as a movie for me. So that's my.
I don't know if I entirely agree with that.
Also, I do like the fact that you get to see Fred Durst in the movie. That's a big thing for me.
Okay, I can buy that.
Honestly, I feel like I don't even like football, and this is a slap in the face because Nathan, you come from the land of the Friday Night Lights, bro. You got to fucking high school sports, dude. It's like fucking they are on the gridiron, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I am from Green Bay, so you think I would have, and I do have that, of course, love for foosball.
Talking up that big skin.
See, if this was a movie like, say, the great critically acclaimed movie Drumline, which is about the band behind that's supporting the football team, then maybe I would have been on that side of things. But I don't care about football. I'm sorry.
All right, so you know what? Considering this is a tie, and clearly none of us changed our votes, Dave is going to have to be, of course, the tiebreaker.
Can you handle that, Dave?
Which one was Fred Durst in?
Fred Durst was in Population 436.
He wasn't in the other one?
He directed the other one.
Well, see, I'm wanting to align my chakras and heal my heart.
Yes.
And in order to do that, I have to tune into the true frequency. And drink mother's milk and be free. And the true frequency Wait, what the fuck was the movie called again?
It's called Population 436.
What was the other one?
It's
The
called The
Long
Longshots.
Well, the long shot. Isn't that like a kind of yoga?
Yeah, it's
Is
like
it?
a tantric.
It's a sex position.
Let's not talk about
Yeah.
sex
What I
positions
need-
with a movie with a 14-year-old girl, please.
What I need
We already
is
talked about
healing.
fast.
Healing and vibrations, you know? Because think about it, like, we know nothing about the I mean, we know, like, a little bit, but we really don't know really anything about the universe.
Are you a
And,
starseed?
No, dude, no, just, like, check this out. Like, you know, see, I really don't believe in time. Like, think about it. Like, so, like, you know, like how you read a book and, like, fucking the 436 one.
Okay.
Fucking
Yes.
hell.
And you know,
It's the
I
Zandali
think
of this
even
bracket.
like not only are the A equals 440 and the A equals 432 people wrong, it's truly A equals 436. That's what we need. That's the key.
Well, it's the sweet spot because that's where the true vibrations are.
Exactly.
And that's how you
And it's-
align the chakras and you truly heal your heart.
and
you
it's
know?
halfway between the two.
Well,
and
but
that's
like,
truly...
think about how we don't know anything about the universe.
Mhm.
Like, see, that's kind of, you know, and like time isn't real. So, like, you know, because see, like, people say time's real, but really it's a construct.
Yeah.
And like, well, what's really crazy is like, like we know a little bit, but we don't know like anything about the universe. You know, it's just it makes you think. You know.
Well, I mean, you can say we don't know anything about the universe, but we know about the light bearers and the light that they're trying to
Right.
take from us.
Well, and like the Earth is like, you know, its true vibration is. I can't fucking.
All right.
We gotta get to the fucking boat.
I love the... Yeah. Okay, so 436 won?
I guess.
So Dave, what is your official answer?
Well, like, you know, it's crazy though. Honestly, well, one of them was about I think it was about basketball. I heard something about passing skills, right?
So the girl in real life ended up playing college, fucking a WNBA style basketball.
Right. Word. Honestly, you know, Population 436 is kind of giving me like vibes from that CKY song with the dope riff. So I do kind of have to go with that one, being honest. And like, but like the universe.
Well, I think Population 436 won.
I think so too.
I love
possibly.
that every time there's been a disagreement between me and my co-hosts, I've had both the guest and Dave backing me up to push it through. I think my co-hosts are going to
I'm just gonna
hate
throw
me.
this out here real quick. Like, we really shouldn't rely on my takes on any of this shit ever.
No,
Like,
I agree. So
perhaps there's got to be some kind of write-in vote option where, like, I'm not involved because I'm just gonna fuck the whole thing up, and I think y'all resent me for it. I'm just saying stuff, but like for real though, like my chakras.
As long as there's no mail-in voting, I think we can all agree it's fair.
Okay,
Right.
so and that's the thing. We shouldn't have guests because the guests fuck it up every time.
God damn it!
I've added a lot to this podcast. I'd just like to
You did up until you just took it all back.
But
I
I
really
will,
made everyone think.
I will say though is that even though Population 436 is objectively the better Fred Durst content film, it's also objectively not as good a film. So I will still go with Longshots, but objectively Dave because he's a traitor as always.
Yeah.
and we're firing him again as producer.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that Jess's vote in this scenario contradicts her vote in Snowden versus Lord of War. So it's almost like she's being super inconsistent.
Yeah.
And then I
I'm
guess we'll
just
see you
going
next
on
week.
personal taste.
You guys
mostly.
sound like you need healing, and like the thing when your heart hurts, you have to find the true vibration.
All right, you know what? We've had enough talk. So
No,
yep,
I think no, like for real though, like if you
So
tune
the
into
real
the true
frequency is that next
frequency
week we're
of
going to be
population
covering
430.
We're gonna, all right, I think that's all.
You know what? Unfortunately, population 436 has moved on into the bracket. Yeah.
I will say, guys, yours was the better vote.
Yeah, I'm super smart.
Yeah. My vote was much more well informed, literally, because well, I mean, to be fair, Nathan did watch the movies 15 times each, so actually his is probably the most well informed.
Yeah, I'm a little offended by that statement, but go ahead.
I hate
Yeah.
that their vote makes us seem like we love what do they call it? Sports ball.
Yeah, we like
and
sports.
We're actually freaking big nerds, and so we don't.
Well, you know, just like Keke Palmer in this movie, she was both a nerd and into foosball.
That's true.
So,
Well, final thoughts. There's only one good sport. It's basketball. Football fucking sucks. Fuck.
I agree with
Fuck
that.
Celtics.
Shut the fuck
you know,
up.
if this movie was a basketball film where Jasmine Plummer ended up playing for the Bucks, Dave would have fucking voted for it hands fucking down.
I probably would have too.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, honestly,
no,
if this
no
was
doubt about it.
if this was like Mike, but she was balling with Desmond Mason, I would have loved that shit.
You know,
Well,
like
see-
Mike, but it's like Giannis.
Okay,
There's kind of
he
this,
was
like, thing, though,
4
like-
years old at this point, I think.
you can imagine there's probably, there's probably a universe in which that is how the movie actually panned out, and we know nothing about the universe, so like,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just maybe we'll get like a transmission from another universe telling us we were wrong. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
right, it's crazy. I mean, that crazy thing that happened earlier where it got noisy and I put a gate on it, like,
Yeah,
Put
a heaven's gate on it. Let's all fucking transcend.
Heaven's noise gate.
So
I'm vibing.
Okay, so next time it'll be the Woodstock 99 performance versus the Fred Durst dump.
yeah, versus the Fred Durst dump, which does not involve Fred Durst taking a shit. But I will say it involves something way funnier somehow and way less stinky. Fred Durst he drinks a lot. He eats a lot of like really spicy food, so his shits are pretty fucking nasty. And his chocolate starfish is really nasty too.
Oh, God.
up.
So yeah, definitely take a look at Woodstock 99 and look up Fred Durst dump in parentheses not poop on Google and see what that's about.
Or extra poop if you're freaky.
But yep, that'll end it for this episode. Unfortunately, the worst people on this podcast voted for the movie that didn't win, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor and I are the tastemakers, and as long as people don't forget that, I guess we'll be fine.
Yeah, so once again,
I wish both of you healing.
so sayonara Longshots who have been knocked out of the bracket. Population 436 moves on once again. This is Taylor. I'm going to be signing off this Fred Durst bracket. Now take it away to DJ Mike.
Bye.